looked at the genealogies of Judah and then Simeon, and now studying 1 Chronicles chapter 5, verses 1 to 10, we turn our attention to that of Reuben. Right away, we are reminded that Reuben was the firstborn to Jacob and Leah. He was the older brother of Simeon, who in turn was the older brother of Levi and also Judah. But that wasn't his claim to fame, or should I say his claim to infamy. You see, Reuben lay with Bilhah. He had sexual relations with her. She was Jacob's concubine and the mother of Reuben's half-brothers, Dan and Naphtali. You can check that out in Genesis 35. In his culture, sleeping with your father's concubine was not only a severe moral violation, but also an aggressive act against the father's authority and inheritance rights. As a result, he lost his birthright as the firstborn, Genesis 49, and his primary blessing was later distributed among his brothers, specifically Joseph and Judah. The loss of Reuben's birthright had a massive, measurable impact on his descendants. In ancient Israel, the birthright came with two major privileges: a double portion of the inheritance and the leadership ruler status over the family. Now, the double portion went to Joseph, whose two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, both became full tribes with their own land allotments. The leadership or ruler status over the whole family went to Judah, the lineage that eventually produced King David and the royal line. Because of this shift, the tribe of Reuben went from being the natural leaders of Israel to a minor, vulnerable group that eventually faded into the background. This is also why Reuben was not mentioned first here in Chronicles in the genealogies. When the Israelites approached the Promised Land, the tribe of Reuben, along with Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh, looked at the lush pasture lands east of the Jordan River, in modern-day Jordan, and begged Moses to let them settle there instead of entering Canaan proper. While Moses granted the request on the condition that they help the other tribes conquer the mainland, this choice, in fact, isolated them geographically. This was so because there were no general boundaries for protection, just an open plateau which allowed for constant invasion since they shared borders with hostile kingdoms like Moab and Ammon. They chose immediate comfort, pasture land, over long-term security. And how often do we make similar mistakes? Short-term gains against long-term losses, instead of going for long-term gains and short-term losses. In addition, the tribe of Reuben never produced a single major national leader, king, judge, or even prominent prophet in Israel's history. They were among the first to fall to Moabite conquest as well as the Assyrian captivity. And also, even though the birthright was or went to Joseph, the double portion of the birthright, the dominion of the birthright went to Judah, and thus the leadership was to come from Judah, which it did, and ultimately from Judah was to come Jesus Christ, which he did. Next time we're going to look at Gad. The studying of the Old Testament is indeed fascinating. Hope you're enjoying it. If so, please indicate so on the video you're watching with a like. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, Digging for Scriptural Gems, I hope you do so. But above all, keep on studying the Word of God. Till next time.